What's going on, everybody? And MXGP 2021 is finally here, and in today's video I'm just going to be talking about the physics, gameplay, graphics, that kind of thing. I'm not really going to be going into a deep dive of track editor, multiplayer customization, and career, mainly just talking about the gameplay in this video. All that other stuff is going to be saved for the review and other videos. Now, I played the game for about 2.5 hours last night when it launched, and this is going to be a really hot take, but so far I think this is either the best MXGP game they have released yet, or it is the best one they have released since MXGP 3. It is easily in the top 2. That might sound kind of crazy because I haven't put, 100 hours into the game, but so far I am absolutely loving this fucking game. The one thing they did really well with this game so far, and something they improved on, is they added more berms in all the corners. Not every single corner, but most of them on all the tracks. So instead of just having one inside berm on a couple corners on some tracks, they added in a middle berm, and they made the outside berms a lot more accessible in this game. I don't think the inside berm is the king anymore in this game. There is definitely way more line choices in corners, and you can absolutely fucking rail these berms in this game. I think I have seen a couple people kind of complain about them and that they haven't really figured them out, but I have figured out how to hit these berms pretty fucking quick. I'll try to put up a couple clips of me hitting them, and I will be making a tips and tricks video on this game when I put a little bit more time into it, get a bit better at it. So yeah, the berms and the tracks, they have improved them a lot. Sure, the layouts on some of the tracks are very similar, but they definitely feel different. The graphics are so much better. It's the best looking motocross game we have had to date. It's not a debate at all. They made all the tracks a bit more rough by adding more speed bumps, braking bumps, and I think that was a good touch because it makes the game a bit more difficult, and it always keeps you on your toes. They also added a speed wobble, which I think was a good idea. I don't think it was really overdone so far. I've kind of already figured out how to correct them, how to avoid them. It's just another thing that makes the game a bit more difficult, and I think it was a good addition to the game. Also, another thing that they have added into the physics, if you are leaning over in a corner with both your sticks, you will most likely fall over if you're leaning too hard and you give it gas. So in the corners in this game, you mainly want to be using the left stick to turn and the right stick to kind of lean back, get some traction. But in some of those tight turns and the tight berms, you want to use that right stick just gently, and it will rotate your bike into those berms nice, and you can slingshot out of those motherfuckers like crazy. I would avoid using the right stick to lean left and right in most corners, but when you're coming into those kind of tighter turns, I will put up a couple examples. You want to give it a quick little flick, and you will slingshot out of that corner. But it is very easy to fall over in corners, slide over when you're leaning too much, and I think that was another good addition. But at the same time, it is a little bit hard to get used to, a little wonky, because you can do a complete 360 in a corner and stay on the bike, but I think I will get used to it and get better at it over time. So yeah, another thing that makes the game a little bit more difficult, and it keeps you on your toes. When it comes to the whips and scrubs, they're pretty much identical to MXGP 2020, but I think they have improved on the animation slightly and the feel of it a little bit. They are a little bit quicker and feel a bit better, but I have been struggling to keep the bike straight when I land. It seems like every time I do a whip and a scrub, I tend to kind of shoot off the track, mainly because I'm not landing perfectly straight, but I think I will get the hang of it eventually. The bike sounds in this game, I gotta talk about them quick. They're very similar to the previous Milestone games that we have seen for a while now, but they made them scream even more, which is something I wasn't too sure about when I was watching the reveal gameplay about a month ago. But after playing it, these bike sounds are fucking awesome. They possibly could be better than the MXGP 3 ones. It's up for debate, they're pretty close. But these bikes in this game fucking scream. Yeah, the bike sounds are phenomenal. I'm glad that they changed them up just a tiny bit, and it was a nice touch, and it makes the game feel a little bit more different. The track deformation in this game is only visual. It does not affect the rider or the bike, which is pretty fucking stupid that they have not figured that out yet. But the touches they have added to these tracks, like the braking bumps, the berms, and also adding speed wobbles, all that type of stuff, it makes the game and the tracks a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, unfortunately, no ruts or train deformation in the game that is working with the bike. It's just all visual, again, which is fucking stupid. The AI in this game is the best AI we have seen yet. They are pretty competitive. I think the top 5, top 3 are the really fast guys. They seem to spread out from the pack really quickly after a lap. So if you make a mistake on lap 1 really early on, it's going to take you a few laps to catch up, most likely. Depends on what track you are on, of course. This is the first game that Milestone has released where I'm not winning by 20 seconds on the first race. I'm actually having battles with second place. It does seem like whenever you make a mistake, the AI is always back on your ass, which is pretty cool. First person in this game is pretty awesome. I think they improved on it in MXGP 2020. They made the camera placement a little better and the movement, the feel of it, just a little better as well. So I think this is the best first person we've had in any motocross game. Even after playing MX Simulator, MX Bikes, I think this game has the best first person to offer. So if you're a first person player, you will like this game. It seems like whenever you overjump something a little bit in this game, you don't crash, but your rider does kind of fall off the bike weird, and it is a clunky animation, I think, and it lasts just a little bit too long. It's not the end of the world, but it is a little bit of a clunky animation, and I think they could improve on it just a little bit. I think the rider looks very clean on the bike, especially when you're going through a berm, railing it, or just down the straightaway, and you're just fucking pinned. The rider can look a little goofy though when he's trying to hustle or just give her at times, but overall, I think the rider looks really good on the bike, especially in the whips, pretty much everywhere on the track. When it comes to collisions with the AI, it seems like they are kind of hard to move out of the way. It's very similar to the previous games. You can't really just cut them off and they tip over. You have to really slam into them and T-bone them like Mike Lassie did to Brock Tickle, and then they will go flying off the bike. So the collisions are kind of ass, not gonna lie. When you hit hay bales in this game, it doesn't seem like you just crash instantly. They do kind of move a little bit. One thing I really love about this game is the clutch matters big time. If you are not using your clutch, tapping it in corners, holding it to accelerate out of the corner, you're going to be losing a lot of time. This is the first game that Milestone has released that I can remember the clutch actually being important and actually working pretty good. So if you're playing this game and you haven't used the clutch at all yet, really, just mess around with it in the corners, tap it, hold it, all that kind of shit, and you will get the hang of it. But yeah, the clutch is really good in this game, and if you want to be going quick, you got to be using it. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to say for my first impressions. I will be releasing a review video eventually, but yeah, I think MXGP 2021 is possibly the best MXGP game they have released to date. That's very controversial. This is one of those games where it plays better than it looks. If you're just watching it on YouTube, it may not look the greatest, but when you sit down and play this game, it's fucking phenomenal. So yeah, give this game a try. I think it's worth it. There's obviously some things wrong with it, but overall, like I said, it might be my favorite MXGP game yet. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and take care.